Good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, February 9th. The time is 6:03 p.m., and I will call to order the meeting of the Norwalk Bike Walk Commission. Joining us tonight in attendance, we have Commissioners Nick Pappas, Christina Randall, Brian Clark, Elizabeth Sile, as well as Darlene Bird, Greg Pacelli, and Julia Green. Welcome. Okay. Moving on to our agenda here, we open our meetings with the opportunity to have public participation. So I see we have some members of the public attending tonight. If you are interested in introducing yourselves or giving comment, please raise your hand and we will unmute you for the opportunity to speak to our commission.
Don't be shy. Eager to help.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, oh, it looks like we do have a hand raised. Go ahead, Richard.
Hi, Rich Stellinger, just a new member of the Common Council. Just going to hop on for a few minutes. I have to leave at 6:30, but just want to get a sense of what you're doing. Thanks for letting me in for a bit.
Great to meet you, Richard. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay. One more moment and we will move on to our next agenda item. If anyone else does want to just say hi, feel free to raise your hand. And
Richard, you're a new member of the Common Council. Do you represent a district? I'm sorry, my civic understanding isn't that advanced.
I'm in District D.
Awesome. Okay, good to have you.
Thanks.
And if I'm correct, is it Common Council or are we referring to it as the City
Did I say
Council now?
Common is City Council? Yeah, I may have misquoted.
No worries. I was just noting that in an article.
Thanks for the correction.
No, thank you for joining us, and we're excited to have you here. Are you by any chance an avid cyclist or pedestrian? And do you walk around Norwalk at all?
It's funny you ask. One of my goals is this spring to get an electric bike. We have some more traditional ones, so on my agenda, just try to get. I've tried the electric several times, and I got plenty of friends that have them, and yeah, we'll see if it works out.
Awesome.
Excited for you, Rich. I just got my first one in early 2025, so it's definitely a lot of fun. I'll see you out there.
Great. Okay. With that, we'll move on to our next agenda item here, which is the acceptance of our January 5th meeting minutes. Are there any commissioners with any comments or updates to the minutes? Can I entertain a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Brian.
I'll second.
Thank you, Nick. All in favor? And so approved. Thank you. Okay. Moving on, our old business. So going on from our last meeting, our 2026 events. I will hand the floor over to Christina and Manny to talk about the Earth Day Festival and the steering committee updates. If either of you want to start and give a brief update on our progress there.
Sure. I myself have only sat in on one of the planning meetings with the Earth Day planning commission, but everyone is very lively, very excited. I know that there are a few activities or associated events that we didn't get to do last year because of the rain. And so they're looking to really just fulfill a lot of the things that they were hoping to do last year this year. So that includes, the like group meditations and thing that they weren't able to do because of all of the rain. I know probably they got less turnout than they wanted for either the bike ride or the walk, the get to the green without a machine. So this year is looking like a real kind of do-over on those things, and we're participating hand in hand with arranging the bike rides to the green and the walks, and I think the big one that we're looking to do is from Nathan Hale to the Norwalk Green, really make it a family-oriented kind of walk. I think they talked about this year a theme being kind of the elements, as well as plastic. So, which at this point, with everything that plastic is in, may as well be one of the major elements itself. And so we're trying to incorporate those two things into the plan. Maybe do some plastic bike, like recycled plastic bicycle sculpture or something along those lines. But really, the crown jewel is the walk.
Awesome. Manny, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I know one thing that we were discussing was doing like a walk parade of sorts. And so I know that's something that we discussed at our education subcommittee as well, where we put our heads together. It was primarily, I would say, Christina's idea that we were going to do. We're going to try to coordinate and connect with some other key members and stakeholders in the community to figure out how to get a walk parade from potentially the closest middle school to the green and walk down to the green. And so that's one of our plans and ideas. I know another thing that I wanted to triple confirm, I don't know if you were able to confirm, Christina, was if the event's on Saturday or Wednesday, because both Christina and I both had Wednesday on our in our notes that's when the event's happening. So and I haven't seen any literature that says a specific date or an exact date, but that's another thing we want to confirm. But both of our meeting notes said that it was going to be on a Wednesday, on Earth Day.
Yes, that it's taking place on actual Earth Day, which is a Wednesday this year. Obviously we want to know what day of the week it's happening on, but we were able to kind of identify some pros and cons for either day. With Wednesday already being a school day, maybe there'll be more kids who would participate that otherwise wouldn't because they've got other things going on a Saturday. But yes, that's something that we need to nail down. Although, like Manny said, when we were in that meeting with the planners and took contemporaneous notes, everybody was saying such and such specific date, and I just don't think it was until after the meeting that we realized that date was midweek.
There is an email I received from Tracy confirming that the 5th Norwalk Earth Day Festival will be on the Norwalk Green on Saturday, April 25th, 2026. So my understanding is it's a Saturday, but to both of your points, there is something going on Wednesday, because I also have that in my notes. So I think we'll clarify what's happening on Wednesday, but the official event, to my understanding and to this email announcement, is Saturday, April 25th.
Nice. Okay.
But I'm excited to hear about the group walk, especially in that area. Yeah, that's an exciting plan. And is there anything that as a commission that we can do to support that effort? Is there any additional entities or groups that we want to involve in the walk? I know maybe bringing it to, and I think you did this already, Christina, so I apologize if I'm duplicating efforts, but connecting with the members of our educational subcommittee, like Joanna, Jill, Amy Watkins from Watch from ECT, to get
Mhm.
involved with the walk as well. I think that would be great. I think you might have done that already.
I haven't, so we'll definitely
Oh.
get on that. I did see the email from Tracy to the three of us today, and you know, as so often is happening as a new member, I just wonder at do I respond to this email? So definitely though, you know, I'll take this meeting as like a little deputizing event, and I'll get on, you know, emailing everybody, all of the interested parties and such. Yeah, because I
Perfect.
think, you know, just having a few people in highlighter vests kind of along the way would be beneficial, you know, and if we could just get a few volunteers to do that, I think we'll be golden.
Absolutely. And I haven't read Tracy's email yet today, so I will do that and follow
Mhm.
up with you. Are there any, excuse me, any other commissioners interested in
I
supporting this? Yeah, go ahead, Manny.
no, I just was gonna say I hadn't had a chance to read it either, and so I can read it tonight, and I can also respond if that we can
Yeah,
all
it's
respond, you know,
yeah,
but we can.
exactly.
But
It's not super detailed. I'll paraphrase really quick. Basically,
okay.
she just resent kind of like the informational page for the bike walk aspect of the Earth Day Festival from last year and asked if everything on there looked good for a repeat of this year, just in terms of promotional. Or repeat for this year, excuse me, in terms of, you know, like promotional material. And one of those things listed was a spirit walk from the commuter lot of the East Norwalk train station
Oh,
to the green. And my text to you guys was saying, why don't we co-opt that spirit walk concept and just change the starting location to Nathan Hale, which is pretty much equidistant. And furthermore, takes a lot more back roads, obviously, to get to the green versus just walking down East Avenue, which we all know is just not a great experience. So maybe it'll be more family friendly, and it also gives us a chance to highlight, you know, some of the work towards a complete streets model in that neighborhood.
Definitely. And if we want this to be a family-friendly event on these main streets, it may be worth reaching out to the Norwalk Police Department or the cadets as well to maybe assist us
Yes.
in, you know, having visibility and
Yeah.
some sort of, yeah, security.
Yeah,
That
right.
would be
Because I
great.
think Lockwood just pops out right by the Norwalk Inn, and then it's a, you know, a stretch of East Avenue to get to the festival. So we'll definitely get everybody involved.
That's great. Well, it sounds like you're making great progress there. And yeah, however I can support or connect you with the right people, I'm happy to do that. I know on that list is Jim Travers, who leads a walk around Wall Street in the past. I think we mentioned it to him in our TMP quarterly meeting. So if we want to, you know, involve him or the other walk leads as well. I know they try and do several walks, but if we want as a bike walk commission to focus on one, I think that's a great idea too, to really focus our efforts on a larger group.
would a volunteer group? Maybe this is a question for the actual Earth Day meeting, but maybe there's another group that would like to another focus walk bicycle environmental focus group that would be interested in taking on the East Norwalk train station, because I think it is a great walk, and I think, you know, you combine the public transit aspect, you know, to that, right?
Ooh,
But maybe there's another group, another community group that would be interested in that.
Manny, I love that suggestion. And you know what just came to mind was Enna. Like, what if the East Norwalk
Oh
Neighborhood
yeah,
Association would be interested in getting involved? If Becca, it sounds like, is not able to join tonight. She is not available, but I would definitely, you know, reach out to her and see if I know she has connections in East Norwalk as she lives there as a resident. So that would be great to see if they would be open to doing that. I think that's a grand idea.
Oh,
Go ahead,
sorry. Go
Brian.
ahead, Brian.
Emily, I could do that as well.
Oh.
Just living in East Norwalk and help reach out and potentially help coordinate that as well, along with some District C members also.
That would be great. Oh, Brian, thank you.
Well,
I was only going to say that the reason I had put forth for co-opting the Spirit Walk from the East Norwalk train station was to not have so many individual walks, and thus we can get like a larger group. But
Mhm.
I like what Manny's saying because I do think that they kind of appeal to different groups. You know, like a family with a stroller might be more inclined to want to meet at Nathan Hale, whereas people coming from out of town or, you know, people living in East Norwalk might want a group to walk down. So yeah, I think there's benefits to having coming from all directions kind of thing.
I agree. And I also like your point, though, Christina. If we focus our efforts on one main big walk, we could get a much bigger turnout that way, too. So I think if we diversify and have efforts in, you know, specific areas, that would be great. Because to your point, people are going to be coming to this event from all over, hopefully, either and by our encouragement with public and active transportation, not only coming via train and walking or from the school on bikes potentially. I think what we've done in the past, and I will reach out to Chaz Foster from Sound Cyclists. They'll do a bike ride to the green that day, which will also be something we should, build on as the commission. So, in the past too, Phil Kaia has been super supportive and creating routes for family bike rides and more experienced bike rides. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here, but getting the follow through and deciding on a plan is definitely the next step. So thank you guys for taking the lead on this. Okay. Any other questions about Earth Day? I think the only thing we didn't talk about was the bike valet piece. I know it's a bit ahead of time, but now that we know that the date is the 25th, a Saturday, anticipating that we will offer bike valet service, are there any commissioners, Manny, you might have already volunteered, or you said maybe there's an possibility you are available that day, Saturday, April 25th, to do bike valet. Are there any other commissioners available and willing to do bike valet for this event?
I would love to, depending on what time the walk is scheduled to arrive at Earth Day. I would be happy to relieve whoever, because I think I'm definitely doing the walk, and so I can't assist with setup, but happy to
Right.
relieve.
Right. Perfect. Thank you,
I'm
Christina.
happy to help with that.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, we'll set up a chart and tables, and we'll get volunteers as well. But as long as we have one commissioner at the valet stand at all times, we should be good. But thank you. So I have Manny, Christina, Nick, and myself. Oh, go ahead, Manny.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm willing to do like the pickup, from Yankee Doodle and transport it to the site. Maybe if I can, I can do it early, before the walk starts, and then join Christina at the walk. And while Christina and I are at the walk, somebody else can man the bike valet, and then I'm welcome. I'm happy to take a turn.
Thank you, Manny. Yeah, but we'll get transport ahead of time. But thank you for volunteering to do that. Well, I don't want to overextend you, so we'll see if we can get either a commissioner or a volunteer to return the equipment after you pick it up, or however we want to work it out.
And I'd be happy to do it. Yeah, okay. We'll figure it out. But I'm happy to pick up and drop off and set up, or have it there, or have it delivered and that sort of thing.
I also might be able to do a pickup or drop off too, and hopefully we'll also join the probably kids walk and bring my kiddo.
Excellent. I'm excited to meet your kiddo. Okay,
Mhm.
Elizabeth as well. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Oh, thank you, everyone. Okay, any final thoughts on the Earth Day event, which will be our first event as a commission this year.
Is there, I mean, I haven't checked Yankee Doodle Garage in a while, but are there any items you want to purchase by then to give away? I know we still have a lot of water bottles and bags and some supplies, but I know this is like our first big big tabling event, right, of the season, of the summer season or the spring season. Is there anything that we need to upkeep regarding that and with purchasing, but also I know we're trying to be a little more conservative with purchasing like swag.
I think if nothing else, we should definitely do a test setup of the canopy and everything and make sure everything's in working order.
I agree. I think that's a really good idea. And I know I also haven't done a status check on the items we have available in the garage. I know it probably includes helmets, locks. I don't know if we have any more lights, but I agree with what Christina said too, which is the test setup. We have this beautiful new tent that has a cover and back slips and all of that, but I don't think we've put it fully together ever. So definitely, maybe if we have time before April to do that in the Yankee Doodle Garage storage unit, that would be a great idea. Maybe one off weekend before the event. But to your original point too, Manny, yeah, budget. I don't know if I put it on the agenda for tonight. Maybe in our discussion section later on with commissioner announcements and future agenda items, we can bring up budget spend in that capacity, if that sounds good to you. Okay. Then with that, moving on to the TMP quarterly meeting, alignment updates and next steps. Just to inform the rest of the commission, we did have our first quarterly meeting with transportation, mobility, and parking. This included Jim and Greg, Manny, Christina, and myself. We met in room 122, which is now officially the TMP room, which is exciting. We discussed 3 major upcoming community meetings that I think have already happened at this point, and the reason that we had to postpone our bike walk commission meeting. Last week, there was a roundabout community meeting in the South Norwalk Elementary School. It designed and presented, or it presented the first preliminary design concepts for Norwalk's first modern roundabout, which was very exciting. And I think we had a few of our commissioners in attendance giving feedback on that as well. But we heard from Jim and Gray a few more details about this project, which is really exciting. And the safety improvements and historic considerations, as well as the construction timeline. I don't know, Greg, if it makes more sense for you to talk about this project briefly, or?
No, I mean, I think you hit it. I mean, the phase 1, which is the clearing of the existing berm removal and rail spur. So when you come to the bottom of South Main Street at the intersection, you can't really, your sight lines are limited due to the existing concrete rail spur that's existing. So that will take place this spring. Well, that will be removed and leveled to ground level, and then we'll be advancing the design throughout the winter and spring. We're taking all the comments that we received. Folks are still able to provide comments on the roundabout as well, so they can still email their comments in for the time being. But we're gathering all the comments, and we'll be assessing them as we start to advance the design. And we're looking to get this city's first roundabout under construction very soon.
It's very exciting. Brian, I think I did see you in attendance at the community meeting. Did you have any thoughts on the roundabout coming in or feedback?
I was there. Greg and I had some discussion as well. I think I'm excited about it. Yeah, my big comment is, if you know how to use them, they work beautifully, keeps traffic moving. We did have a gentleman that was concerned about the trucks, and we were explaining, or Greg actually was explaining along with the engineer that was there about the truck usage of the bib. So I think overall, I gets introduced to Norwalk. Norwalk learns how to use them, and we can bring them to other places to help. Again, the sight lines is what is going to be very helpful. Where there are blind spots, the shortened crosswalks, things like that of that nature will definitely increase safety on that intersection that can be chaotic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and seeing as it's the first one, outreach will be the key, and we're going to be releasing a lot of how to documentation and educational videos and whatnot. So we'll definitely need the commission's assistance. Once as the roundabout starts to take shape, and once construction will be near completed. So this way, folks are able to navigate it, because it's change, and change is hard for some people, and we understand it. If you haven't driven through a modern roundabout before, you're confused, and but as Brian alluded to, once you get used to it, you'll see how much safer roundabouts are, and the reduced conflict points that come along with it, and how much slower people enter the roundabout, as opposed to even just a stop sign. If people blow a stop sign, which happens very often at this intersection, and at all intersections, but the roundabouts definitely decrease speed when going through, and just keeps traffic moving throughout the area, and especially the proximity it is to the new Sono school. And it's a neighborhood improvement project. I mean, for years, all you saw was a rail spur, and it was basically a concrete wall when you come to the bottom of South Main Street. Now you have the new school, obviously, and now the construction of a new roundabout will definitely improve the area.
Sorry, my internet's breaking up a little bit here, but I caught, I think, most of the end of that. The one follow-up item I had was, I know we have material on roundabouts, and Julia, I see you are here as well. I know you sent over roundabout educational material that we can review, and Greg also can review, not specific to this roundabout, but how to properly navigate and use roundabouts. I think it absolutely makes sense for our commission, especially in the educational capacity, to spread awareness and educate where we can online, through social media, through email. This project that's hopefully coming very soon is.
And Watch For Me CT and Amy Watkins could be a great resource as well. They've obviously throughout the rest of the state of Connecticut, other roundabouts have been installed by DOT and other municipalities, and she's been a part of that. So she's another great resource to go to for materials.
Yes, and I saw there were handouts at the event, of that from Watch For Me CT. So I think maybe we can combine efforts, and as great as it is to have the general information, I think having it something more specific to this Norwalk roundabout coming in. I know the design is still, in feedback phase, so there may be minor changes to the design from my understanding, but
yes,
having some sort of overall focus on this roundabout for us to promote would be great. So I think that's, if you're open to it, Julia, to connect some of our educational subcommittee with Amy, or bringing it to our next subcommittee meeting, to come up with a educational either one sheet or post or piece about this would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely can do, a few different types of communication to get the word out, and education for everyone. So I'm happy to help wherever.
Perfect. Okay, so then I will add that as a follow-up here. Julia and Amy. Okay. Okay, and then The last thing I have about this project was the opportunity to connect it to the Norwalk River Valley Trail, which would be awesome if there was, a raised 10-foot multi-use path in that roundabout area. I think that was thrown around. I don't think it's part of the design right now, but eventually it would be very, very great to see something like that.
Yeah, so we are looking to incorporate an 8 to 10 foot multi-use path along the school on the westerly curb line to South Main Street, to the extent of the project limits, for a potential future rail trail going up towards South Norwalk Station.
Great. The other quick summary I have here of another meeting that came and went pretty quickly, and unfortunately I wasn't able to attend this one. This was with the Department of Public Works on Tuesday, February 3rd. There was a Lockwood Lane community meeting at City Hall, and it talked a lot about the roadway paving and sidewalk installation along Lockwood Lane from Winthrop to George Avenue. Were there any commissioners that were able to join that meeting? Oh, Brian, excellent. Do you have some information to share with us?
Not really. I wouldn't say information. I think we all know what went down that night. It was. We can hear the concerns. I think we understand the concerns. I think the one-on-one meetings with the residents are going to be very helpful. After the meeting, Jim and I had a conversation that as a real estate broker, I'm willing to sit in on the one-on-one meetings, talk about why they're helpful. One, the sidewalks, but two, also the value they bring. And on top of that, just overall, hopefully allow, without people being angry, and that's the term I will use, is I think the one-on-ones will be better. So nobody's, and when I say we or they, it's Norwalk, city officials, the commission here feel that our backs are against the wall when somebody's at the podium literally just kind of berating it. So I think education is going to be important there, and continue. And Jim and I spoke I would say 10 minutes afterwards, 15 minutes afterwards. And I said, please bring me in if you're willing to or want to, but I can explain the value add on the real estate aspect of it, and hopefully help educate that aspect as well. I will bring up today, just alone, just traveling the area, children walking on the roads, coming off of Lockwood Lane. Saw that today, heading to Stu Leonard's quickly. So, the understanding that it is a connecting road, what our progress and initiative is going to happen at the end goal is to have it all connect, is beneficial for the neighborhood, and I'm excited about it personally. So.
Thank you so much, Brian. And that's really good information. And I think what you said too stands out to me, because my first reaction is, oh, this is another great educational piece for us to, post and disseminate, through our networks. But it sounds like from what you're saying too, the one-on-ones are more effective. And I know there's this great advocate, Leanne Vetter, I think, and she had connected and joined us on one of our past commission meetings. I've been trying to set up a one-on-one with her because she's been very receptive and responsive to, what we're promoting and then her own point of view. I think it would be great to try and meet with her. I would love to bring you into that conversation if you're open to it.
Absolutely. Okay. So again, I can help explain, the real estate aspect of it, but also just as a general public aspect in my view of it from being in the neighborhood. I mean, I don't live too far away. And also what I see on a daily basis driving around in that neighborhood. So without a doubt.
Okay. Any other comments on that meeting? Thank you again for joining Brian and giving us that update. The last item that we covered in our TMP quarterly meeting here in terms of our community meetings that happened last week, there was the Chestnut Hill Road Sidewalks community meeting that happened on Wednesday, February 5th at the Cranberry Elementary School. I also was unfortunately not able to join that one, but Greg, would you be able to speak to that project and just a little more overview on what's going on there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So so Chestnut Hill Sidewalks, we did our public information meeting at Cranberry Elementary, and it went very well. We had attendees mostly from the area and actually along Chestnut Hill Road, and even parents, who have kids that attend Cranberry Elementary School, and had some concerns about getting their kids to school safely, and the excessive speeds that they see, and they're very welcoming to the new sidewalks that are being proposed, and also we also had a concept design for the intersection at Chestnut Hill at Field Street as well, which is a very confusing intersection, and you see vehicles speeding south from Wilton into Norwalk and going under the underpass on the Merritt Parkway, and it's the sight lines and the turning movements are very confusing and very difficult for vehicles to make turns coming into and out of Field Street, which leads you right to Noah Lane, which obviously leads you to Cranberry Elementary School. So between the sidewalks that we will be constructing, and the intersection reconfiguration that we hope to advance, the sidewalks will be first. That's the key, is to get the sidewalks in. So we took all those comments that we received from the folks that were in attendance, and we'll be advancing those plans. And it is on a state road, so we do have to work with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. And the sidewalks do go under the Merritt Parkway, which means we have to go through the Merritt Parkway committee as well for approvals. So we're going to be working towards that process next. So it's kind of out of our hands in that. So we're just putting together the best plan possible, and that will having those sidewalks, which will cover Chestnut Hill from Newtown Avenue up to Field Street. That will provide a key connection, especially to Cranberry Elementary School, because today, even if you're within the walk shed, students, get a bus if you attend that school because of the dangerous road and the excessive speeds that it sees. So, in working with our MPS coordinator Joanna, we're looking to put those sidewalks in to provide a safe route for kids to get to Cranberry Elementary School.
Great news. Okay. With that, some other action items we discussed in our meeting were inviting a guest speaker to come to Norwalk that is, well known in the cycling, pedestrian safety atmosphere. So commissioners, keep an ear open. We will reach out to Jerry Silber, who is in Stamford, to see if he has connections. But if any commissioners have ideas on opportunities for guest speakers to come to Norwalk, that was something we wanted to approach and prioritize for this year. We also talked about complete streets. We talked about the shoveling issue with the snow, especially with all the snow we've gotten this year. And I think that is an item on our agenda, so I will save that. Also touched on Seaview Avenue and Calf Pasture Beach projects. And then I guess with that, we will have our next quarterly meeting with TMP in March/April, probably April. So if there are commissioners interested in joining that, please let me know, and we will coordinate a time with Jim and Greg and TMP team. Okay. Any other notes or questions or comments on that TMP quarterly meeting? Okay. Moving on to new business, which is the sidewalk snow removal and winter walking safety discussion and potential recommendations. So I added this based on what we touched on in our TMP meeting, but also what I'm hearing. Sorry, I broke up there for a second. Where did I cut off?
I heard you say you added it based on what you heard at the TMP meeting and then nothing else.
Okay, I added it based on what we touched on in TMP and what's coming in through our resident discussions and some requests and questions mostly about who's responsible for what in snow removal, and especially around the NRVT, who's responsible for clearing that. So I'm hoping, Greg, you might be able to briefly discuss that responsibility and how it works for snow removal around commercial entities and then city property versus residential property, and how we as a commission can support people who are having difficulty getting around, especially around crosswalks.
Right. Yeah. So snow always provides a challenge, you know, for snow removal, especially when we get the amount of snow that we did in one storm. So as per the city ordinance, sidewalks need to be, you know, on a city road, you know, are to be cleared by the, you know, the property owner, by the abutting property owner. You know, so any sidewalk, you know, you do your driveway, you're supposed to clear, you know, a minimum 4-foot path, you know, in front of your house as well. And then obviously the city takes care of all the municipal lots. And then the NRVT, there's a little different story. Rexon Park, they have a certain range. I believe it's from Sono up to Union Park, and then the district, First District Water has a short span that they clear. So it's kind of a mixed bag on whose responsibility is for the NRVT to clear. But you know, obviously it's difficult for some folks to clear snow, and we understand that. You know, it's no different in any other city and any other, you know, state across the United States. You know, you go to any other city and it's the responsibility of the homeowner to clear sidewalks. And, you know, we understand there's challenges in doing that. And, you know, it's just the city just doesn't have the capacity to clear sidewalks. You know, after the storm is over, and, you know, the streets are cleared and the lots have been cleared, you know, you know, the operations crew from Public Works, you know, they do go out and try to clear as many sidewalks as possible that they see are limited for access. You know, but there's only so many that they can clear as well. So yeah, this year has just been a challenge based on what we've seen previously, because we haven't had this amount of snow. But you know, again, I would refer, you know, TMP doesn't have a snow clearing crew. So any issues that you see, you know, I would just refer it through the click and request app. You know, and same thing, if anyone asks you guys about it, then just refer them to the click and request app for any snow related issues, and it'll be distributed to the proper department.
Great, thank you. I know the other thing that we saw in Stamford was they came up with a snow shovel brigade, and it was a group of, you know, volunteers that started helping clearing sidewalks, especially for those unable to clear it themselves. Maybe starting something like that in Norwalk would be beneficial, especially for those who aren't able to shovel their areas. I know, you know, there are groups online that are doing that actively, so it may be something that the Bike Walk Commission can, you know, potentially assist with, or find a means to, you know, at least spreading awareness of using that click and request app to get those requests in and make it more clear. I do see, you know, pictures and requests coming in for certain areas that still have not been cleared, but I've also seen great progress and eventual clearing of areas and volunteers going and doing that along the NRVT. I think really glad to see, you know, people stepping up and doing things like that. But thank you, Greg. So click and request, to be clear, is the best
Yeah, that would be
way
the
for
best route, and this way, because like I said, you know, TMP doesn't have like a operations crew that can go out and clear snow. So everything would go through the operations department. You know, and then if it's for like you know, residential, you know, property that didn't clear sidewalks, that's a different story, because it's per the city ordinance, it's up to the property owner to clear their sidewalk.
Any other commissioners with comments on snow removal, winter walking safety? Is it something where this could potentially be a helpful educational piece to circulate online, you know, suggesting ways to get this addressed, or, you know, at least responding to people who are struggling with, you know, snow removal or getting around, especially those who are dependent on commuting via walking, biking, or access to bus stops? Okay. I will bring this to our educational subcommittee meeting as well.
You know, and Emily, to another outlet, you can also just look at other cities too and see what they've done. You know, there's other cities that get a whole lot more snow than we do, and just see how they handle it. I mean, you know, you go to upstate New York, you know, and it's the same issues. You know, there's snow on the sidewalks that haven't been cleared, so there might be other you know, other means of you know, organizing snow removal such as this. So see what they have to offer.
Thank you, Greg. That's a great idea. Okay. Moving on to our next item here. This was brought at our last meeting, the pedestrian signals at Water Street and Washington Street, concerns and follow-up on the process. I don't know if anything's changed since our last meeting. I know we covered the timing on that and the challenge, especially now with the snow blocking certain parts of this section. Greg, I don't know if you have any updates for us on that.
I don't. So I think I said last time, just go through the click and request app so that we have a record of it, and it goes to the proper department. So anything signal related, you know, off the top of my head, I don't know who owns that signal, because that is State Route 136. So it might be a city signal, but I'm not 100% sure. So if it goes through click and request, then it would go to the proper person who can, you know, who can help out and assist with that.
We'll make a note to follow up on that too, and if it comes to it, we'll submit a ticket on our end so we can track it as well. Okay. Next up is discussions. So now I will open the floor to commissioner announcements and future agenda items. Commissioners, if you have anything to share or anything you would like to add to our next agenda, please let me know. Or please feel free to speak now.
I think, you know, Emily, you've given me all of the login credentials and everything. I just haven't gotten around to looking at the budget, but I want to say something out loud right now, like, so that I can manifest it. That at the next meeting, I'd like to talk about it, and I'll have, you know, I'll be able to talk about the numbers. I'll be conversational about the numbers by then.
Perfect.
And
yes, I know. And oh, go ahead.
No, I say real quick, and just to piggyback off Christina's comment, I think the biggest thing with, especially from the city's budget that is given to the commission, so usually June 30th, well, not usually, but June 30th is the drop dead date. If the money is not expended by then the money goes away. And then July 1, you get new money, but at the same time, if you're not spending the money you're given, and especially, you know, budget, you know, it's a tight budget.
Don't worry, Greg. No one has ever complained about my lack of ability to spend money. So we're gonna get that spent. Don't you worry.
I'm sure, but just keep in mind that we have to abide by the city's procurement process.
Yeah.
So we need to get quotes. It's not a blank check. So we need to make sure that we're getting the lowest responsible price for what we're aiming for. And don't forget about the new active transportation micro grant came out, but unfortunately we cannot go for it because we still have a few $100s outstanding from the previous active transportation micro grant from probably 2 years ago almost now. So we need to come up with a plan to expend those funds sooner rather than later so that we can close that out and then apply for the new solicitation.
Awesome.
There you go. I'm so
Good to
glad
know.
you brought that up. Yeah. So
I know
on
we have
that
a lot
note,
of
Greg,
new commissioners, so just want to make sure we're clear on that.
definitely. And I know we want to apply for that micro grant again. And I think the remaining spend we have for the grant, from my last note here, is on the educational brochures, which we can absolutely print and get spent as soon as possible. I know it's on my agenda here, and I'll bring it to our meeting, Christina. Greg, I think I did request this from you in our TMP meeting, an up-to-date version of our current budget and what we've spent so far. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. So
Yep,
once we
well-
have that, I'll make that an agenda item for our next meeting.
Yeah, and I think by next meeting, so we're into March. I think the biggest thing is, what do you want to spend the money on so that we can come to a consensus rather quickly to expend the money, because the city doesn't just buy something and pay for it.
Right.
We
I think we
procure
have
it.
a pretty good head start with Manny, recommending that we take inventory of what we have ahead of the Earth Day Festival so that we can hand out swag. And furthermore, with the Norwalk roundabout specific informational stuff, I think
Mhm.
we've got a good head start on where we can start kind of chipping away at what funds we have.
Yeah, and I think also too, if you guys are able to hold like an event with a speaker that you can own and take charge of, obviously we piggyback off a lot of events, but I know, Emily, we talked a little bit about it during the quarterly meeting. If there's a bike rodeo or you host a speaker, something that you guys can own and utilize your money, elsewhere other than just buying swag materials. Because we would love to get to a point where we can go for the active transportation micro grant to procure items, swag items such as that, and then the rest of the funds from the operating budget can be used for, something like a guest speaker and bike rodeos and any other ideas you guys come up with, but something other than swag.
Definitely. Oh, Brian, I'll let you go first, but I had one other thought that you reminded me of.
Just quickly, I just need to refresh my brain, and hopefully you can help me do that because I don't have my notes up. I apologize. The date in which, or the next availability for me to get trained, because I volunteered to get trained as a trainer or get certified to be a trainer for safe cycling. Jim and I discussed that as well, because that's what I think I also bring to the group. On that is being a cyclist, wanting to see safe cycling happen in our city, and getting that training under my belt and start hosting those events at schools, to have whether working with a PTA or the school governance committee to get those events scheduled so I can sit there with the students, parents, and kind of talk about, just don't do Papa Wheelies in the middle of Westport Avenue versus, here's your helmet and what have you. So.
Yes, and that's the League of American Bicyclists, the Bike League certified instructor. Absolutely. Julia Green on this call from the health department completed it last year. So I'm happy to forward you, the information about this year's certification. I haven't checked on it yet, but I will be sure to follow up. And then if you have any questions, Julia, if you're open to it, to talking through it with Brian. And I think you're in a position now to maybe, I don't mean to volunteer you, but if you're open to helping us as we continue on, that would be great too.
Yes, absolutely. Brian, maybe we can connect offline off this meeting to kind of I can answer any questions that you have, and we can possibly schedule some stuff if you're interested.
Absolutely. Sounds great.
On that note, and through the bike league as well, I know there's our status as the city of Norwalk as a bike friendly community. I know we didn't get the opportunity to talk through it with TMP, but it's something we're interested in pursuing again this year, especially with our increase in checking those boxes in the application. We also have Jody Trendler, Director of Sustainability and Resilience, who is interested in supporting the application and recruited a few other people to assist us in that. I know, a big part of it is working with TMP to update, especially with all the new sidewalks that have been installed, that bike-friendly community application. So that is something that I will also add to our next meeting agenda, as well as the league certification. But the other thing I wanted to bring up was the opportunity for a bike walk friendly award or some sort of way for us to recognize pivotal members of our community pushing towards better infrastructure around walking and biking. And if other commissioners agree, it may be nice to have a award annually that we give to individuals that stand out in our community that are, making this happen. I did have a conversation with some members at TMP about the opportunity to present this award to individuals each year as the Bike Walk Commission. I did talk to Manny a bit about how we could approach doing this, but I was curious. I wanted to pitch it to our commission here and now to see if this is something that we would all be interested in doing, and if it would be something that would help us, recognize and promote this really great change happening year to year in our community. Any thoughts or ideas on that?
I'm super in favor of it and would love, I mean, maybe if each of us kind of came up with like, 3 to 5 kind of objective, measurable qualities that we would like to assess in somebody, or pick some sort of nationwide figure that we would give the award to, and then figure out, what it is that we like about those people, and if we're able to quantify those things. I think that could be a nice way to kind of work backwards on it. Just some thoughts, but I definitely like that idea.
I like that idea too, with the 3 objective qualities, and maybe looking at some national examples to, correlate to our local community is great. Brian, do you have a comment, or is your hand still up? Or?
No, I never put it down. I'll do it right now.
Oh.
Sorry.
No worries. Okay. I will bring that to our next meeting then, and then, we can talk offline a little more about the structure of that, but I think that's a really great idea. And it's nice to get, kind of our commission's mission out there, and especially just, promoting the individuals that are, making great changes.
Yes, and to encourage people to really try, to win the award. I want to see people going to bat for our priorities to earn our recognition.
Okay, perfect. I haven't given it too much thought, but I'm glad to hear your suggestions, Christina. Is anyone else interested in helping me or helping us kind of formulate this into something real as a side project for our next meeting? And I'm envisioning too, like some sort of, not a ceremony, I don't want it to get too official, but like a plaque of sorts, like an official award. And it's something we, may want to spend a little budget on, just to, recognize, members of our community doing the work that we're really trying to promote here in Norwalk. Okay.
I'd be willing. I'd be willing to be.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Manny.
I think I would probably be 2. You said in the
Okay.
next month or in the next couple months?
Ideally I'll add it to our next meeting agenda. So I
Okay.
will, I'll get with, as long as we're not a quorum, I'll reach out and see if we can formulate some working doc to get these ideas, formalized so that we can have something for our next meeting.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Thank you, Elizabeth. Okay. Any other commissioners with announcements or future agenda items?
It's still on my list to do some research around some marketing tool, like email marketing tools, and things that would either be very low cost or free, and some ideas for social media and education. I don't know if that's something we need to talk about more on the education subcommittee versus the larger council, but that has been on my mind too.
That's a really good point because I think
And the
we are at,
website blow up. I don't
yes,
think that needs to. I think similar to Christina, I'm manifesting doing that somehow in the first
Yes,
earlier part of the year.
let's hold each other accountable here.
Yeah. And especially it would be nice to have something even preliminarily ahead of the Earth Day event, which if that is going to be our big event, our big first event of this, the season and ahead of the summer, when people might see the Bike Walk Commission around more. I want them to have a place to land that, gives them more information and builds that awareness of our mission.
that's a great idea. And I'm happy to help you in that area too. I know I will connect you with the person who set up our domains. And to your point, we've reached the limit on our email marketing capacity to send through Gmail. I think we have over 500 subscribers now, so we do need some sort of platform to continue emailing, which is exciting and great news. But yeah, I'm sure we can allocate a little bit of budget to making our, commission more visible and just like you said, to support these events that we're, participating in and supporting. So I'm happy to add that to the next agenda and find time to meet with you to get that done. I know currently, I think it is Tanner Thompson who still owns those domains. So I'll coordinate a meeting with you and him to hand this off and move it forward so that we can start making it our own.
Perfect.
Perfect. Anything else from our commissioners? Okay. I also want to open up the floor. So our next item here, staff updates. Greg, if you have any announcements.
No announcements. I think you hit on it. Obviously, we had the marathon of public meetings last week. So we appreciate those that were able to come out to those. And the construction projects are, obviously nothing going on now with the weather, but we're hoping by a month from now for the next meeting we have some better weather coming in, and hopefully some eyes on the spring weather so we can hit the ground running.
Definitely warmer weather, please. Okay, I will hand it over to the health department. Julia, if you have any announcements or updates.
No, we currently do not. Like Greg said, kind of bad weather. When the spring starts approaching, we're going to start planning some walks that we will let you guys know what we're thinking of. Hopefully we can partner with you all. But that's pretty much it for now.
Perfect. We'll keep an eye out and I'll follow up with you on those other items we talked about. Okay, any other project updates here? Nope. Okay, and then our last item here on our agenda, the Commission Safety Educational Program opportunities, following up with Watch from ECT. Manny, I don't know if you have an update in terms of our subcommittee. I don't think I had that as an explicit agenda item here, but I know we invited Amy to join our educational subcommittee going forward.
I think I covered most of the things in the earlier part of the meeting. We talked about Earth Day and trying to create I'm going to call them the walk parades. I don't know if that's the official name, but that's what I'm calling it for now. The walk parades, and we have our next education committee set. I believe it's for the. I'm looking at my calendar. It's for the 27th of February. We're going to meet and kind of discuss the next steps of Earth Day, and we can bring up some of the other items that you wanted us to discuss as well. What else was I going to say? Yeah, I think that's one thing that maybe we can discuss at the next meeting, or kind of get ready for prior to the meeting, which is in a few weeks. Is I know Amy had followed up in wanting us to respond to her email and just getting more information, kind of creating a plan with her. And so maybe that's something that can be, we can discuss leading up to the meeting within, before the next 2 weeks.
Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, I think we are looking for, Manny, and correct me if I'm wrong, but someone to take kind of ownership of our educational subcommittee and be a designated leader, right? And coordinating and running the meetings. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm definitely happy to do that in the meantime, but that's one thing that I had discussed with Emily. When we look at our strategic planning, a lot of the things are not educations. A lot of things are in the education section that I'm not a part of, and so I'm happy to hand it over to somebody else. But if we're in the transition time, I'd be more than happy to also just continue to do this. So.
Thank you so much, Manny. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'm excited to have Amy, join us for these opportunities. And, she is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm grateful for her time in our last meeting. So I'm excited to see that program, expand and grow. Okay. With that is our last agenda item. Can I entertain a motion to adjourn?
I will motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Perfect. All in favor? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.